Welcome to the Whitetail Obsession Podcast with Dave Richmond and co-host Chris Worthing, where we talk and teach everything deer and turkey hunting related. Follow along as we help teach you tips and techniques about hunting, food plots, and habitat management strategies that everyone can use.
Podcast 97. Chris is seeing deer. I'm seeing deer. We have coffee.
Oh boy.
Chris probably has hot chocolate because he's 7 years old.
I did in the thermos yesterday.
There you go.
I had an
And
all-day sit,
there
dark
you
to
go.
dark.
Yep. And
Beautiful.
then it is actually Sunday morning. The day we're recording, the day of the podcast gets released at 5 p.m.
It
because
is November 3rd at 8 a.m.
Yes. And we can't, both of our states suck and we can't hunt on Sundays.
Right?
So we're recording this podcast.
Epic 2 days in the woods.
It has been. Before we get to the good stuff, I just want to go on a rant real quick because it's been a while since I've been on a rant.
2
And-
hours.
Yeah, 2 hours. And I haven't told you what this is about, but I want to just get your,
Always complaining.
yes, I want to get your 2-minute feedback.
You
on
want me
my
to
rant.
complain too?
No, you're not going to complain.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
you might, but I
I
just want to
might.
get your 2-minute response.
All right.
All right, so let me try not to spill my coffee here. So
Do it.
I kind of got upset about it, because some people just don't understand that don't do, social media and YouTube videos and stuff like that. When I got the old farm and I asked you to help out on it, and that's where we kind of met each other and all that.
Yeah.
Do you think having that farm and me driving 4 hours each way, spending the wear and tear on my truck, the gas money, the amount of money I put into the property, I mean, you drove to the farm as well, an hour each way. Did we gain any money from that?
Did we
Did
gain
you-
money?
Did you
I
earn
never
money from that?
No, I never earned any money off of it.
Did I
No.
earn any money?
Well, we collaborated on your YouTube, and when I first met you, you had under 4,000 subscribers.
Mhm.
When we got off of that, when that guy sold that property, we was there 3 years. By the time we left that property, you had like 21,000 subscribers in 3 years.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you made some money on videos, but
Yeah.
you probably didn't bank a penny of it because of what you was spending on truck and gas and fertilizer and limes. So you probably made zero. I know I made zero. I was in
Yeah.
deficit,
Right.
big
From-
time.
From the the lease payment, and then
Right.
I mean, heck, I drove to freaking Alabama,
Alabama to pick up the Sad Daddy
the
blind.
Sad Daddy blind. So I didn't profit any money, but I guess I don't know the numbers, but I guess you could say I broke even. Just say you broke even. So I never profited any money. Now imagine that I did all that work. My YouTube was never monetized.
Right.
How much money would I have lost
Oh yeah.
to make
for
the
sure,
content? Okay.
For sure.
That this is leading into this rant. I had a guy message me, I think it was like 2 days ago, and he said, "Dave, I listened to you and Chris's podcast, but I never hear you guys talk about how to kill a 200-inch deer. He says, you guys aren't killing 200-inch deer, so how can you have a podcast?"
All right.
That was his question. So my response to that, let me finish. Then
Go
you
ahead.
can go. Then you can
Go ahead.
go off.
Oh boy.
So my response to that was, I said, "Sorry to hear that you're disappointed." Well, I'm not going to I'm just going to give you my take on it.
Right.
So my take on that is, first of all, this podcast isn't about killing 200-inch deer, because the 200-inch deer is a very rare, special animal that,
Correct.
I mean, some of them get killed every year, but those are in areas that has 200-inch deer. I mean, I'm hunting freaking public land where I just told you this morning, I went there yesterday. It was so crowded, I couldn't even get in because there's a limit on how many people can sign in per day. I couldn't sign in. I couldn't even hunt it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I do have a farm in Pennsylvania that I work very hard at my job to be able to pay for and travel to and all that stuff. This podcast is about general information about how to kill potentially kill bigger deer and but to kill deer in general. Neither one of us get paid. The podcast, I actually lose money because I have to pay to put the podcast on the platforms through a website that distributes all the podcasts out there. It takes you time to upload it to YouTube, which your channel is not monetized, so you're not getting paid.
Right.
So our time is not being paid for. I have to pay out of my own hard working money to put it on the platform. It costs me a monthly fees to put this podcast out there. Um, Not once ever has this podcast ever been monetized. I could put monetization on for this audio podcast, and every time somebody would click on it, Spotify, Apple, whatever, it would play ads, and you'd have to sit there through 4 or 5 minute ads before the podcast would actually begin. Like every other podcast out there, there's not a single podcast out there that's not monetized that I
Right.
know of that's hunting related. It's all monetized because w- it's 50-50. Some people are doing it full time, so they need the money. I get
Yeah.
it. It's your full time job. You got to monetize it to get the ads. The other 50% is just because people want to make extra money. It's
Yeah. Just
a supplemental income,
or just greed or whatever. Yeah.
whatever it is. Which I understand that as well. You got it. People want to get paid for their time. But our information on this podcast is 100% free.
Yeah.
There's not. I'm not saying it's going to be like that forever unless we don't get a new president and the inflation takes even higher, then we might have to start putting ads out there.
Mhm.
But I have no intention on doing that. So if you watch my audio on my YouTube channel of this podcast, it's also not monetized. Yours is not monetized. Now, if I do post a video on YouTube, yes, I do monetize it because again, you I mean, you're taking time and money. It costs money to do travel and make videos and hunt and stuff. So yes, my YouTube channel is monetized. But this audio platform, because that's what this guy's question was, it's not monetized. It's free information. If you don't want to listen to free information, I mean, don't listen to it. But these guys that are have these podcasts about, killing 185, 200 inch deer, they have properties that they can do it on.
Man.
They're in the Midwest or some special property that's isolated from hunters, and they can't and they can get these deer to stay there and stuff. We're hunting highly pressured public land areas. Yes, I have a farm in Western PA, but it's still PA. Is there a chance to kill a bigger buck? Yeah, there's a chance to kill a bigger buck there. But we're taking this out of our own time to do it for free.
Yeah.
And this dude's complaining that we're not killing 200-inch deer. I mean, I have a 185, a 17. I mean, what does he want? Like it happens, but we're killing it on public land and some private, yes. But the whole point is it's free information. I have oh 700 videos now on YouTube. All, yeah, you watch a 20-second ad or something that you can skip, but it's all free information. It's
Yeah.
all free. It's not. I'm not paying you for subscriptions, and you visit my website. There's tons of blogs on there. There's no It's not subscription based. It's all free blogs, free information. Now, I told the guy, yes, I make a fee when I go consulting. I have to pay for my time. You're talking. It's just like a business. You're running 3, 4 hours one way, walking 8 hours on the property, and then driving 4 hours home. That's a fee. Like I got to charge you for that. Nobody's doing that for free.
Right.
But for you to throw in an earbud and drive around and listen to a podcast, this podcast is free.
Yeah.
So when that guy it kind of set me off a little bit. Um, so anybody that's listening, yeah, we appreciate your listen. If you don't want to listen because we're not killing 200-inch deer, I mean, just don't click on the video.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my rant's over. What then
Okay.
we'll get into some rut stuff, but what's your opinion on that?
So first of all, Evan, my time has been given free.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got up on a Sunday morning.
Mhm.
I had an all-day sit yesterday
Yeah.
from dark to dark.
I did
Had a
too, pretty much.
magnificent day, and we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Mhm.
But this is a type of stuff we are average guys talking about average public hunting. Okay. We're shooting decent deer for where we're at. We're trying to help other people or educate people that maybe want to shoot better deer. We're not saying we're experts. We've shot nice deer, each of us. I mean, there's a good one there right above my head. I mean, that's type of caliber of stuff we're after. But we're in Pennsylvania, where the average deer killed is 2.5 to 3.5 years old, max. It is uncommon to shoot a bigger, older deer unless you're on private land with hundreds of acres and someone's doing a management program for them.
Real quick. In Maryland, there's big deer in all states, but
There is.
in Maryland, you could kill regularly 170, 80-inch deer on the eastern shore of Maryland. But
Mhm.
you have to sell a left testicle to frickin' pay for to hunt
Right.
down there. You're talking 10, 15, 20, $30,000 for a lease.
That's kind of the way I was headed here. We're doing everything totally free. We're not, I mean, you're paying for your lease, but I mean, we're not paying a high fence, or we don't have someone calling us up. Hey, Dave, Chris, we got this 180 down here. Why
Right.
don't you come hunt it and put it on YouTube? We'll make some
Right.
money. We're not getting phone calls like that. I'm scouting after I work a 10-hour shift of
Mhm.
welding all day.
Mhm.
I'm going out and doing my homework and
Yep.
putting out trail cameras and stuff, mock scrapes all summer long, taking intel, finding what's out there, setting up on the correct travel routes, mock scrapes and things. And I'm working hard at it. I know Dave's doing the same thing with all his cameras. He works a rigorous job as well. He works as many hours, if probably more than me, because he's sometimes on call, out here putting out fires at his job. We're doing this stuff after we go to work, guys. And our time, it should be worth something to you folks with the information that we're giving. And it's free, as Dave said. Secondly, the key to killing a 200-inch buck, here it is, guys. Here's a secret. You have to have one first. You
Mhm.
can't kill it if it ain't there.
Yep.
Where I'm hunting, and we're going to get to this, an average buck, like I said, 2.5 to 3.5 year old. I'm lucky to see a buck like this one over my shoulder, that scored 140. I'm surprised that deer public land all by myself. No one else was there that day. I got to shoot it. The key is to having deer like that in your where you're at. You can't kill a 200 if you don't have it. Okay.
Mhm.
A good one for my area, like I was looking for yesterday, is usually between 120 and 140. There's a frame there,
Yeah.
you know, and I might even sometimes, if the conditions are right, I might settle for a 110. I don't, I'm not a rack hunter per se, but after you shoot something like that, which isn't total monster, but after you shoot something like that, you're not going to go back to shoot 90 inchers. I mean, that's what most people are killing in PA, and they're
Mhm.
happy.
And
I
there's
just want to,
rare exceptions that
I just want to shoot one a little bigger than the last one I got.
yeah, and there's rare exceptions that in PA and even Maryland that 150, 140s and 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s get shot, but
Yeah.
it's a rare occurrence. I
Mhm.
mean, it does happen, but it's rare.
Now, thirdly, going with the monetization thing, I'm not monetized. I
On
have enough
on YouTube.
on YouTube. I have enough subscribers to be monetized, but the problem is watch hours. guys, today, the instant society, everybody just clicks through and gets what they want out of a video. And they're overlooking and missing probably 90% of the information we're trying to give you for free. They just going through and hitting highlights, or they watch the first 3 minutes and be like, yeah, I don't want to watch this. But we always start out with some current events and informational things. And sometimes it's about us, just like today with a rant. We start out like this and then we get to the good stuff later. But people are clicking through all this crap probably. And I think that's a problem with my videos. People just click through and get to the end and see what I killed, and that's the main reason I'm not monetized is people don't watch a video the whole way through anymore and support you like they subscribe when I subscribe to a channel, I'm watching their videos. That's someone I want to watch. They have information I want to see. I support them by watching the video from the first second to the last second.
Well, it's an instant gratification society.
It is. But that's not supporting that channel, that friendship or whatever you've made. I watch the video the whole way through and then I'll make a comment, even if it's nice job or whatever, that's just supporting the channel. We don't have that anymore. The instant gratification, they click through it, see what they want, and go on to the next one, And I don't even know some of the people that are subscribed to my channel because they never ever comment or anything, They just want to see what Chris has killed this season, And there's no camaraderie in that. I really enjoy when people interact, leave comments, watch the video the whole way through, and then they'll personal message me and ask questions. And, like I said, we're not experts, but, I'm in my 50s. Dave's in his 40s now. I've hunted a long time. I have a lot of information I could give you. I'm not that good on screen. I'll admit it. I'm not a video guy, but informational wise, you can call me or comment or personal message me. I will talk your freaking leg off and give you the information you want or need, or I'll find it for you. I'm a wealth of information that is untapped. I've been hunting 40 some years,
You're old.
Like I said, yeah, I am. But like I said, I'm not an expert, but I've killed dozens and dozens of bucks. Okay. And I'm proud of it. I've had good success over the years. The Lord's blessed. I'm happy. If I never shoot a 200, oh well. If I waited for a 200, I would probably have quitted by now because we just don't have them here.
Well, the thing is, not whatever percentage the hunters are that think this way, but they are easily discouraged or influenced by pictures they see on social media. So if they see somebody shoot a 160, they get depressed. Oh, there's no big deer here, blah, blah. Okay, well, where did that 160 get killed? It was probably somewhere, either the guy just got lucky on some random public land because they are there, or is he out west in one of the big buck states?
Yeah.
There's so many variances. Like if somebody shoots a 200-inch deer, I mean, it's like, oh, wow, look at this deer, man. Like, that's a big deer. I don't get depressed.
No.
Because is there a 200-inch deer in Maryland, Eastern Shore roaming around? I promise you there is, because I saw one close to it earlier this summer when I sent it to you.
Yeah, it was big.
And that was back in
For sure.
mid-June.
Yeah.
So I never saw it after that, but that was a big deer.
Yeah.
So they are there. They're everywhere. But
Yeah.
the chances of killing one is slim to none.
They don't get that big by being dumb.
No. So, but enough of that. I mean, I just wanted to bring that up because that guy really kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't take it personally. I mean,
irritated me with it. So
I'm not gonna take it personal, but I mean, there is. I don't know. There's that persona. Everybody watches these big buck YouTube channels, and like you said, they're easily swayed and influenced, and we're not trying to be them, obviously, or we would have a lease in a big buck state. We're
Well,
talking to the common people. I mean, what's the intro say? The intro for this channel or for this podcast. The guy
I don't know.
talks about, and it's we're talking informational about deer and turkeys and things to the average hunters. I think I can't remember exactly what it
Yeah, I
how
can't remember.
word for word, but we're
Yeah.
talking to the average person. And you're in Maryland, I'm in PA. Yes, there's big deer there, but the odds of killing one is nil. So we're
It's
talking to the
possible.
average people. It is possible. We're talking to the average folks and just trying to educate. Maybe, I mean, I get a lot of questions. I mean, there are people out there that don't kill deer on a regular basis, and they just want to
Well,
know how to do it better.
well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, you kill a buck pretty much every year. Um, I didn't kill one last year just because I didn't really see anything I wanted to kill. I mean, I
See,
could have.
I'm in that boat right now. It's like
Yeah.
I passed up so many bucks now. I'm like, wow, is this ever going to happen? So this might be the end of my streak here. I don't know.
Well,
I'm
the
kind of
the the
having doubts, but the season's not over.
yeah, but the fact is, you don't need to kill a buck.
No,
You don't need to kill one. So
no.
if you don't kill one this year, who cares? Like it's
I
no
already
big deal.
I already put a
Kill
doe in the freezer. I got something to eat.
that's my point. You don't need to kill a buck.
No,
So and just think if you don't kill it, somebody else might not kill it. So when you go back into that spot next year, he might
yeah,
be bigger.
yeah,
So that's what I've been trying to sway on you a little bit is you don't need to kill a buck.
nope,
So if you don't need to kill a 100-inch deer, I mean, you just said the buck in that picture there, like
yeah,
you want to try to up it each year.
yeah. If I
So I
could,
mean, if you need, I know you guys eat the meat and all that. So I
yeah.
mean, kill it. You got more doe tags.
I do have one more doe tag or two. I have two doe tags. One for the area I live in, and one south of me. So
So the farm, Western PA, me and TJ got our license. We each, well, no, he didn't get a doe tag, but I have a doe tag. So I told myself I'm not hunting it this year at all until rifle season. So it's untouched. There's the food plots are growing, they're feeding, there's nobody there hunting. Um, I got all my cameras and spots looking for trespass. I haven't seen nobody. So when me and him go down there that Saturday after Thanksgiving for 2 days,
yeah,
I think it's going to be, I think we should
it's
do good.
on. It's
It's on.
on.
But I want to jump into some rut stuff. But
Ooh, yeah.
this podcast might go longer than 30 minutes because I got some other stuff too.
That's okay.
Yeah, I got some other stuff
Watch
too.
it through, everybody.
Yeah, so
Don't
I
click
made
through it.
the other day I was thinking, I was sitting in a tree and I was thinking um, about myths about the rut
Okay.
that like not really, I don't know what you would call them, not really myths, but misconceptions or I don't know. But the point is that the whitetail rut happens every year at the same time of year. It's roughly
Mm.
it all happens within a week, here or there, give or take a few days or something.
Yep.
But it generally happens like the peak rut. Yeah, there's a second rut and stuff like that. I'm talking about the primary rut that happens basically from Halloween until maybe the second, third week of November.
Yep.
Happens all around the same time of year. Growing up, and I still hear these myths or whatever you want to call them to this day. And I made a note of them. And the first, I'll say them, and I want to hear your opinion on it. I always hear that the rut starts when the leaves start dropping.
I've never heard that.
I've heard that my entire life. Well, yeah, the leaves drop at the same time as the rut starts. That fall transition, the leaves fall the same time every year.
Yeah.
So just because the leaves are falling doesn't mean that it starts the rut.
No.
Growing up as a kid hunting, that's what I always heard. Oh, yeah, the rut really starts when the leaves start dropping.
Huh. I never heard that.
No, it happens at the same time,
Yeah. Same time of year.
same time of year.
Yep.
The next thing is if there's warm temperatures, there's no rut. If
Oh
that
no.
if that was the case, if it because it seems the past whatever 10 years, it's always hot during the first week of November.
Hmm.
If the rut never happened because of hot temperatures, how are
We would
fawns
never have
born?
a rut
Well, how would you have fawns born?
Right.
There would be no breeding if there's no rut.
It's
How-
supposed to be 77 here Tuesday.
right. So that is a huge misconception.
Yeah,
They may do it at nighttime when it's cooler
for sure.
or early mornings or something like
Yep.
that, but
Yep.
they're still moving. They are still seeking for a hot estrus doe.
Yep.
But it still happens.
Oh yeah.
The next thing I've always heard growing up as a kid was frost starts the rut.
Oh wow.
I've always heard that.
Huh.
Oh, that you got to have the frost and it pushes that doe into estrus. No, it just so happens that the time the average first frost is when the rut starts. It's the same as the leaves falling. The leaves fall the same time every year.
Yeah.
Roughly, the frost date's roughly the same. So you have that rut starting, and then the leaves are dropping, and you get a potential frost all in that same time frame. This is what I heard my whole life growing. Oh,
Huh.
you need a frost to start the rut. No, it starts. The rut starts every year the same time.
Yeah.
And that was the same thing where the last thing was, oh, we need those temperature drops. It pushes the does into estrus.
No.
No, the does go into estrus around the same time every year, and then yeah, they will come back in 28 days later. If
Right.
they weren't bred or whatever.
Just like a
So
woman.
just like a woman. So I've heard these things constantly, growing up, and I brought this up because I see it on social media. The guys are saying, "Oh, it's too warm. There's no rut," or "We need the leaves to fall." And it's funny, these guys that do these rut reports,
Hmm.
I think it's hilarious because what are they reporting? The rut starts the same time every year, so how it's non predictable. You
I don't
can't
know.
predict something that happens the same time every year. How can you predict that? So, um, what was I getting at? These same guys earlier in the year, because we had those cool temperatures earlier in the year, they were saying, "Oh, the leaves are going to fall earlier this year, so that we're going to have an early rut." Really?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? There's more leaves on the frickin' tree now at this time of year than there was last year, and the rut started. So these guys that have these predictions about Mother Nature and when the rut starts and the leaves falling and the early frost and all that. I'm in Maryland. We haven't had a frost yet. Where I'm at, in Western
Right.
Maryland, out in the mountains, yeah, you probably had a frost, but where I'm at, there's no frost. The rut's starting.
Yeah.
The rut has started. I seen chasing the past 2 days, and the bucks are out cruising around. I get my cameras are blowing up at the farm. They're running up and down the Gaswell Road. They're chasing does. The rut has started. I
Yeah.
have no frost. There's more leaves on the trees now than there ever was. It's 70 degrees out. It was 80 degrees out the other day. I was sweating like a stuck pig. You were sending me messages
I
saying
was melting.
you were melting, and you saw rut activity.
Yeah.
It,
Hmm.
this stuff just blows my mind. A lot of it is people just want to make a video. They want to get the views and the ad revenue, and they just want to stay relevant. And with these rut predictions, how can you tell me? Somebody tell me. How can you predict something that happens the same time every year? That'd be like your birthday coming around, and I say, "Get, I'm predicting Chris's birthday."
Yeah.
Really? Really? It happens the same time every year.
Right.
You see,
Right.
I'm on a rant today.
You are too. It's crazy. Yeah, I've never heard some of those things.
Really?
Never heard of them. No.
Hmm.
No. Because I mean, we this year was a wacky year for weather already. I mean, it's just that
Yeah, but
drought and then the hard rains and then drought again, and the leaves were falling early, but they weren't out there rutting in September
no.
when the leaves started dropping.
Yeah,
You
but the
know,
the leaves are still on. Do you have a lot of leaves left?
W- we do not. We have
So
about a 25% of them. 75 are probably down,
so
and most of those are oak,
yep,
still hanging
where
on.
where I'm at, there's still tons of leaves. Yeah, they've changed colors. There's tons of leaves. The other
Hmm.
day when we had that crazy wind, I think it was
Yeah,
2 days ago,
raining leaves,
a
huh?
lot of them blew down.
Yeah,
But it's generally, I mean, it's the same time every year the leaves fall. I mean,
yeah,
I mean, it's just
Same time frame. Yeah.
same time frame within whatever you
Yep.
want to call it. Just say 10 to 15, whatever it is.
Yep.
But yeah, so now that that's out of the way, and we did talk about some myths with the rut. Now people know the rut. If they didn't know before, the rut starts the same time every year. Um, but what are you seeing rut activity wise?
Okay.
And where are you hunting? Is it explain the the layout?
I took a half day Friday
Hmm.
and I got out in the woods around noontime, I believe it was, or 1 o'clock, somewhere around that area. I think it was 1 o'clock. So I already had a stand placed. It was an area I think I told you I had a mock scrape built and they were skirting it. I wasn't getting a lot of pictures on the mock scrape. So I put a second camera up and started finding where they were skirting it. And so I dropped a stand lower down the hillside. So what this is an area over top of a river. And it's a series of benches that drop down, level off, drop down, level off. And so what I did is I I dropped off of a flat ledge over a ridge and I'm hunting just over the next flat spot. So I'm not on the flat spot. I'm still on on the ridge down. And what they do, I don't know why, but just a series of years in a row, I've noticed the action down there is it's real thick. And they come off of that flat spot and they work their way uphill because eventually they want to go to the top of the mountain where all the oaks are getting the sunlight and there's a big white oak flat up there. So they
Mm.
want to work that direction. And that's the whole theme of this is food and bedding.
Now,
I'm getting between.
are you seeing does on
I was
top
seeing
feeding on the acorns?
I was seeing does working their way up. So I knew I wanted to be where the does were. I mean,
Right.
that's common sense and you want to be where the does are. That's where the boys will show up when it's time. So I went in there and I started I don't know what it was. I sat there probably a half hour, 40 minutes before I seen the first deer. But what I saw was they came from the opposite direction of what I was expecting. I saw a doe run down through the valley off the hilltop and hit that flat and went into some thick stuff. And I seen antlers go right after it. And I was like, oh boy. Now, what happens was a whole night ordeal after that. That kicked off that area. That area was hot. Obviously, that doe was hot. He he corralled her into this thick pine patch right below my stand, which was probably about 40 yards away. He corralled her into there and would not let her out. And all these satellite bucks were coming from different directions, and he would come out of that patch and defend his doe. And it was just a series. He was just down there snapping stuff off. You know, he was breaking limbs. I could tell he was had his antlers up and he was snapping stuff. Um, he was back and forth defending that doe, and they was just coming. They was coming and going because he was chasing them all. And this buck wasn't all that big. He was just a real big 6 point, and it was just a very entertaining night. And even the other does that walked with him or came past him, he didn't even break off and check them. He was locked in on his one doe. And see what happened was I saw that doe run in, that buck came after her, and then moments later I had activity to my left and I looked and here was these other couple of doe. I'm assuming they was with mama that was hot. And these does worked down and they stayed around for a while and was waiting on mom, but mom was penned down. I mean, he had her locked up, and another buck came and chased those babies off, basically, a smaller buck. And it was just constant action all Friday night. And all the way up until I got down out of the tree at dark, he had her locked into that pine patch. And just because she was hot and he had her locked down, I must have seen 5 different satellite bucks come in checking. Like every time I saw a deer coming, I'd get ready, and he'd fly out of that patch and go chase that other buck off. It was a good time Friday night.
Yeah.
I had seen, like I said, I only seen about 10 deer probably, but 5 of them were buck. You know, he was just defending his territory. So that was Friday night. How about, do you want to hear about last night?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yesterday was an all day sit. I went to a different area, and this one is in a point type. Um, the land is triangular shaped, and at the apex of it, it drops down and goes to the river, and both sides slope off. And there again, I'm on top where a lot of the oaks are, and I'm thinking I'm just going to catch some feeding activity, and bucks will come and get with the does. Well, I had nonstop action from daylight till 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. I'm sorry, and then I think God just hit the off button because it stopped. But what I had going on was first thing in the morning, I had a buck. I have a mock scrape behind me, to my right, off my right shoulder,
With some
and
raw in it.
I had some frozen scent raw in it. I put in there on the way in, and
I
I used the peak estrus.
I did yesterday.
I didn't spray it. I dumped it.
Yep. When the wind was blowing out, I had a buck coming toward me. It was a small 8-pointer, and
Yeah,
I had the spray on it. I went
Mister.
pss, 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 and it drifted away out. And as soon as he got in line with that thing, he locked up, looked over at me, and he turned left. Yeah, left and walked right out in front of me about 20 yards.
Nice.
It was the coolest thing ever.
I actually did not get any reaction from my yarn, and I even did a drag on the way in, which I never try, but I did
Hmm.
it. I did it anyhow. Um, I didn't have any reaction to yarn yesterday. They was just locked in on chasing doe.
Hmm.
It was
Well,
that time.
it doesn't work all the time. I mean,
No, I just didn't have a reaction yesterday because I had multiple deer walk through my scrape and didn't even stop for it. You
hmm.
know, but yeah, first thing in the morning, one came right behind me, and it was a small buck, and he went down behind my stand and went down over the hillside, and within 5 minutes roosted up a doe, and rousted up a doe, I should say, and she come up over the hill right at me, walked right by me. He chased her around a little while, but I saw over, I don't want to say over, I seen like a dozen different bucks yesterday. 2 of them would be shooter size, which I consider between 120 and 140.
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 obviously did not come anywhere near me. They stayed below me on the next bench. I'm on a high spot, and like I said, it benches down also. I love benches. I get I get on top of the ridge line because they travel the ridge and they'll drop down to the next saddle at points. And I don't know. This has just been a good area in the past for me where, like I said, it was a point. For some reason, the deer run around that point a lot. And I set up on the one side. To my right side, it's so thick I can't shoot through it. On the left side, it's descending woods, and I can shoot downhill if I need be. And those bucks all come around that point, and they chase does back and forth on that lower saddle. And a lot of times they run right past me. So
Hmm.
I did not get a chance yesterday, but I had a great day. Saw over 30 birds. Saw some barred owls working the trees, trying to catch squirrels. It was very entertaining. But yeah, at 11 a.m., God hit the off button, and I sat there till 1 o'clock till I saw turkeys again, and then didn't see another thing till 4:45, and then the bucks were out again from 4:45 till dark, I saw 3 bucks.
Nice.
So they, it's funny though, because I see bucks in batches, not together, but like one coming one direction, one coming another, and they see each other and they lock up like, uh-oh, is there going to be a fight? And then one walks off and the other one just goes on its way. Like they weren't interested in fighting. They were just on a search.
Hmm.
You know, that's what I'm seeing in my area. There wasn't heavy chasing, but they're definitely trailing them. Yeah, I mean, they're not running them, bird dogging them just yet. They're just after them, trailing them. Um, and it's funny, like no response to grunt calls or anything like that. Because those far off big ones that I saw, I tried hitting a grunt call and they'd lift their head, look around, and just keep on going. You know, they're not interested in any of
Yeah.
that fighting stuff right now. They're looking for love. You
Hmm.
know, and I don't know about you, but I've had guys saying, "Oh, I rattled this buck in." Dude, I have never had rattling work for me. Never.
So usually, what I found, if it's like a really high pressure area, the rattling, grunting is not going to work. Now, my old house where I used to live 10 years ago, I had 30 acres there that backed up to public land, and I could rattle deer there in all the time because
Never
I
worked.
would rattle them in out of the you know state park because nobody was hunting it. So
Yeah.
I'm hunting on my property on the edges, and it wasn't something that they were used to where you have a bunch of hunters in there trying to rattle and
Yeah.
grunt, and they were very responsive to it. Usually nowhere else that I've really had any luck with it.
Well, you know where I'm at. I'm in a highly pressured area with campers and hikers
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
canoers and fishermen and things. And I had pictures of people on camera in there on the early muzzleloader hunt last week. So I know people are in there.
Hmm.
So yeah, they're probably not real vocal. They're probably not, you know, outgoing deer. Probably
So,
real recluse and just
yeah.
do their thing this
So what
time of
I seen the
year.
past 3 days, I haven't seen like it's 7 a.m. and I'm seeing 3 or 4 different bucks. What I'm seeing is like here comes a buck. Hour later, here comes a buck. Hour
Mhm.
later, here comes a buck. So it's steady throughout the day. I did see one at 12 o'clock yesterday, just cruising, just nose to the ground, kind of walk.
See,
It was walking slow, but nose to the ground.
that's what confuses me. They, I had 3 doe standing in front of me, and I mean 10, 15 yards. And in fact, I put a post yesterday for a limit shield hunt, the 10-yard pin. I
Hmm.
took a picture and I put it on Facebook. I had a doe right underneath me, and they were sniffing my sticks and all kind of weird stuff. But they were there when one of those big boys came in, and he came around that ridge, that point, and topographically, I was higher, and he came around there, was walking the flat of that saddle, stiff legged. He was just marching, smelling everything out, and those doe were right underneath my stand, and all he did is looked at them. That's it. That's all he did is looked. Now, maybe the wind was dropping to him and he could smell they weren't estrus does.
That's what I'm guessing.
That's what I'm guessing too. But I thought maybe he might come up there and check them himself, and he did not. So maybe the scent was dropping to him and he couldn't, he was scent checking them from below.
Hmm.
So maybe he knew not to even mess with them and he went on his way. And I was standing, I was like, oh man. I thought he was going to come up and check them out at least, and that I would have had a shot because they were standing right underneath me.
Hmm.
So I was there was a tense time there where I was all excited, my heart was beating. But I'll tell you, it was an epic 2 days in the woods. I was very excited. I saw,
Well,
like I said, between the 2 days, I saw over Over 15 buck at least. No
Well,
problem
anything can happen
for
during the
sure.
rut. Because I remember, I guess it was probably 10, 12 years ago or so. I had 2 weeks off and I was hunting the first 2 weeks in November. And I literally hunted every day. I mean, just no luck. I mean, sporadic deer here and there, but very, very slim. And it was the last afternoon of the hunt. I walked out. It was 80 some degrees, and I got to my stand. I climbed the stand, and I have a pull rope pull my bow up. I'm pulling my bow up, and I hear leaves chatter. I look over to my left. Here comes this doe, right, running right toward me. And I look behind it. Here comes this buck. It's on my wall right over to my left here. And he's chasing this doe. I'm like, holy crap! So I pull my bow up real quick, and I still had the clip to my cam of the bow.
Yeah.
When I was I never even took it off.
Mm.
I was just like, screw it. Hurry up, pull my bow up, and he's chasing her out in front of my stand, and I'm just pulling, pulling, pulling. I finally get my bow. I get my release out of my pocket, and I'm standing there, right? And I'm going like this, and I'm trying to wait. Next thing you know, I just grunted to him. I was like, man, and I just pulled my bow, bam, shot him, ran across the other field. I don't know, 50, 60 yards, piled up. But that's how quick that
Yeah.
it can happen. So people get depressed. I mean, it is depressing, especially if you're hunting for 2 weeks and you're not seeing nothing. But anything can happen
Yeah.
at any moment. I wasn't in the stand for 10 seconds,
Yeah.
and
It's
and I'm tagged out.
ridiculous.
So and
It's ridiculous how fast stuff happens.
yeah, this time of year, I mean, any time really, but especially during a rut. I mean, if you're depressed, just I know it's tough, but stick it out. I mean,
That's
something's going to happen.
that's the story. That's the story behind that bear in reverse.
Hmm.
Just the opposite. I was done for the night. I gave up, was letting the bow down, and I saw this bear coming. I had to pull the bow back up,
Hmm.
take the string off of the cam, and stand there and wait for a shot.
Nope.
Exactly. In the opposite.
Hmm.
But yeah, anything can happen.
Yeah, if you
For
hunted
sure.
long enough, you'll experience similar things. I can't tell you how many times I lowered my bow, pulled it back up. Just you'll always have some kind of crazy story that
Yeah.
you'll never forget.
Okay. I guess that's episode 97. Watch
47
it.
minutes long.
Watch it through. Get us the watch time.
Right.
Comment below about any myths that you know of. What else? And what they're seeing.
Yeah,
Give
let
us
us
your
know.
rut report.
Yeah, give us your rut report that happens
What you
every year.
what's everybody seeing?
Right.
So I guess that's it.
Yeah, we'll see you on podcast 98.
What are we gonna do for 100?
I have an idea.
We're gonna eat cake on film
We're gonna eat chocolate chip cookies.
in front of everybody.
Chocolate
Celebrate.
chip. Chocolate chip and hot chocolate.
All
All
right,
right,
guys.
guys.
Good luck.
We'll see you on the next one.